Welcome, everyone. I'm speaking with Stefan today to talk about using and integrating Wikidata on WikiVoyage. Stefan, welcome. Could you please give us a quick introduction to WikiVoyage?
Wikivoyage was started some years ago. Actually, I started working on Wiki Travel, and later on, um, some contributed decided to make a fork. That was in 2006, and so we started working on this new project. And fortunately, in 2012, we became a member of the Wikimedia Foundation family. So, and since then, we are here as an official sister project. Yeah, and
Uh,
I started because I loved traveling and taking photos. So that was the start. Yeah,
that was your motivation to start. Well, what it's an interesting history, I think, for WikiVoyage. Um,
yeah.
Maybe you could tell me how an article on WikiVoyage differs from one on Wikipedia. Maybe like if I look at the Hong Kong article on WikiVoyage, how what information is different there from the one on Wikipedia.
Yeah, of course. At the first sight, we have a very strict article structure. So because our readers should have the same feeling on every page. So you are not very flexible as an author to use different headings in your paragraphs. So we are very strict in our structure. And of course, our information are, travel related. So we do not force people to add sources. We like to see it, but it's optional in our case. Maybe it's the biggest differences between WikiVoyage article and Wikipedia article.
hmm And maybe you could tell me about some of the benefits for integrating Wikidata into WikiVoyage. How would it improve the content on the articles there or make editors' lives easier?
Yeah. Um, the most reason to introduce it was that our community is quite small, and even when we were separated or not a member of the Wikimedia Foundation, we worked on an own database because we always needed all our information in all language versions. The community is small, and if somebody adds a phone number or address to a museum, it's very useful to show it on all language versions. And that's why we can participate from a quite bigger community as the local authors are and the local communities are. That's the main benefit.
Okay. I think you might have brought an example of a Wikidata powered template for WikiVoyage today.
I can show you an article. This example article is from Lovina, a small town in north of Bali. And you can see the V card template. We call it V card. So it's like a business card.
Are these
And
hotel listings I'm looking at here?
yeah, these are hotel listings. And if you take a closer look to the wiki markup, you will see that the wiki markup contains only the name and the Wikidata ID and the description, but not more information. And if you look, if I go back to the article, you see much more information like what features a hotel or a museum has. You see the address information, the way to get there, and the phone numbers. All these information are saved on Wikidata, and all language versions that use this vCard template that they show all these information. Once a phone number is fixed on Wikidata, you see it in every article. And if I switch over to Wikidata, you can see all the information are saved here in properties, what the features a place has, the addresses, and down to all the IDs for even Instagram, Facebook, and such things.
Is that the main benefit, do you think, that because the information is stored on Wikidata, it only has to be entered once and then it can be used in any language and in any wiki?
Yeah, absolutely. Because the communities in all the language versions are mostly quite small. Of course, the English one is still the biggest one, but it's very useful that you don't have to save all this information in the local wiki language versions.
Okay. Maybe you could show us again in the source code, so and show us how we can add the template. If I wanted to add, for instance, a template, how would I do it?
Yeah, you have actually you have two options. You go directly to the code.
Mm-hmm.
In that case, we have some edit tools down here. We can add just an empty vcard here by just clicking on in this edit tools and just fill out the name and then save it. And later on, you can, I will say quit. You
Mm-hmm.
have also a button to add a vcard here beside the heading.
Uh-huh. This
And
this would
then,
be edit and info in English, I guess.
yeah, yes. And then you have a kind of a special editor that's available for all users,
Mm-hmm.
which is some JavaScript, and then you can start editing your hotel directly or your museum. You can just type the name,
Mm-hmm.
and if you have a Wikidata ID already, you can just start searching for the hotel or the museum. So maybe,
Oh, you don't even have to put in the QID, you can just add in the name.
yeah, you can just and then just adding the name, start
Mm-hmm.
typing the name, and so you can, if you want to add the Adlon Hotel in Berlin, you just find it on Wikidata,
Mm-hmm.
and
So
that's
that
it actually.
Well,
Yeah.
that's really useful. So all those yellow pre-filled fields, they are taking information directly from Wikidata and
Yes.
filling it in.
Yeah. And you
Wow.
see it already here. And there's a kind of preview down here, so you can take a look how the complete vcard would look like in your article, and then you can save it.
Wow. Okay.
So you
That's
need just a name, a type, and a Wikidata ID.
with the information we're using here in these listings, is it just meant to be viewed on the website when planning trips, or when you're out in the world, can you use
Ah,
this information?
yeah, you can use it even out of the world. If you use the mobile version or even this desktop version, you have a kind information button. So you can fetch this information, and even in this case, you can show to the taxi driver where you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
The vCard has a feature to determine where a village or town or a museum is situated in which country and selects the right local language. In this case, it's Indonesian
Mm-hmm.
because we are in Bali here. And you have all the information directly on the website, even all the booking websites and IDs, everything that's saved is displayed here. You can click the phone number and just use your phone and call the museum or whatever.
Wow.
Yes,
So very handy if you're on mobile for you to show the taxi driver where you need to go or figure out for
yes,
yourself.
yeah. That's why we call it taxi button, this information button.
Hmm.
Yes.
I wanted to ask if I need any special permissions or user rights or gadgets installed to start using this template.
No, you can just work with it as just a normal user. There are no special features to be activated, even not gadget. This vCard gadget is activated per standard for all users, and there's no more necessary. The normal skin and just the normal browser with not extra features.
Okay. And you showed us briefly here today how to start using it, but I wonder if there is a space or a practice area I could use before I start making live edits, just to make sure that I'm using it correctly.
We don't have a special area where where you can test it, but we just have a help site that's called Spielwiese, the German word for playground.
Okay.
And in here you can add all the templates you want and take a look how it looks like. Yeah. But
Sure.
actually, because it's quite easy. Just add the name and the vCard template and start with an empty one. So the most people just use it directly in an article.
All
That
right.
maybe develop this editor that even people who are sitting in Bangkok in a restaurant just press this button, add entry, and then they can fill it out and save it.
Excellent. Um,
Yeah.
I wonder if you know of any best practices or considerations I should have in mind when I'm using Wikidata on Wikivoyage.
Yeah, I think the first thing you should think about is how the information are saved in Wikidata. I think the first barrier you have to jump over is actually the structure on Wikidata. Um, I have written a little article about all the properties that we use in the vCard, and so you can check it how to edit the Wikidata entry. So some people want to add an information if an restaurant or museum is accessible by wheelchair. So you need this property and have this possible entries.
Hmm.
And to get familiar with all these different properties in Wikidata, maybe that's the first step you should do. Take a closer look. Maybe just open a hotel or a restaurant and on Wikidata and take a look how are the information are saved there. And if you need some more information, take a look at this website. I collected all information that I found on Wikidata and how to how to use it on uh, properly
Hmm.
in the item on Wikidata.
Very
Yeah, that's the,
comprehensive. Sorry, does this article exist? Is it translated as well, or is it only in German at the moment?
this one at the moment is also available in German. Local, of course, but local language versions can import it and maybe translate into their own language. So it would be quite useful.
Hmm. Yeah, for editors out there listening, please have a look about translating this article.
Yeah, I think it's very useful because the documentation on this talk pages on Wikidata are not, yeah, sometimes not easy to find. Yeah,
Hmm.
and in English, if you have it in your local language, that's more useful. Yes.
Sure. Um, and I also wanted to ask if someone wanted to start using Wikidata on their wiki, but they don't know where to start, what would you suggest they do or where to start looking?
Yeah, as an editor, of course, you need some templates. So you need at least one programmer's guy or ask us to implement um, one of these templates in their own language version. If you have no Wikidata access in your own wiki, I would choose some simple information. Like I think the most wikis, even Wikipedia and Commons, started with the info boxes. You have three different kind of informations that you want to show in your wiki, and start with these ones. You can ask for help, our community, if you need some information. If on the programmer's view, if you want to do your own thing in your wiki, I always start with analyzing just these Wikidata entries. So I have just a small module, and then I take a closer look how the information come to my wiki. Maybe if I want to show a picture, and analyze this. And this is where I start. When people ask me, we need some more information from Wikidata, I take a closer look to Wikidata, how they saved information, and then continue working on the templates. But if you start from scratch, focus on some simple like population numbers and capital of a country, and then dive deeper into Wikidata.
Okay, right. Well, thank you, Stefan.